Shadowing means listening and speaking at the same time. And this technique encourages learners to imitate a fluent speaker as closely as possible. When a learner listens to someone speaking English and instantly repeats the same words, their brain begins to connect sounds with speech patterns more quickly. It is not like traditional listening practice where you only hear and understand. Instead, shadowing forces the learner to actively use their mouth, voice, and memory together, making speaking skills develop faster. By copying pronunciation, tone, and pacing in real time, learners start to understand how English sounds in natural conversation, not just in textbooks. This action builds stronger listening and speaking coordination, which is necessary for fluent communication. The process of shadowing also trains learners to react quickly in English. Since there is no time to translate into their own language, the brain adjusts to thinking directly in English. At first, the learner might feel overwhelmed because they must focus on many things at once, such as the sound of each word, the speaker's rhythm, and their own speech output. However, this mental challenge is exactly what makes shadowing powerful. Over time, the brain learns to process English faster, and speaking becomes smoother and more automatic. Instead of pausing to search for words, learners begin expressing themselves spontaneously, similar to native speakers. Another advantage of shadowing is the improvement of pronunciation. By listening closely and copying a natural voice model, learners can hear sounds that are difficult or unfamiliar to them. English has many unique sounds that might not exist in other languages, and shadowing helps learners train their mouth muscles to produce them correctly. This practice builds a natural accent and reduces hesitation because the learner feels more confident with how the language should be spoken. Even the movement of the tongue and the flow of conversation become more controlled and comfortable. Through repeated practice, shadowing can be done anywhere and with many forms of audio such as videos, podcasts, speeches, and stories. It does not require special equipment, just patience and consistency. With constant practice, the learner becomes familiar with different speaking styles and voices. This exposure expands vocabulary and improves comprehension automatically. Although shadowing may be difficult in the beginning, sticking with it transforms the learner's English ability, helping them speak clearly, confidently, and more like a natural speaker without needing to pause or translate during conversations. Improving pronunciation and speaking confidence is a major benefit of the shadowing method, and it happens because learners practice speaking continuously while hearing a fluent example. When someone listens and repeats at the same time, they train their voice and ears to work together. This helps them notice pronunciation differences they might have ignored before, such as how native speakers stress certain syllables or connect words smoothly, instead of speaking slowly and separately like a beginner. Shadowing encourages a natural flow of speech, making learners sound more confident and fluent. Hearing their own voice match the speaker's tone and style gives them a sense of progress, which builds motivation and trust in their abilities. Another reason shadowing improves confidence is that it reduces the fear of making mistakes. Many learners hesitate to speak because they worry about saying the wrong thing or being judged. Shadowing pushes them to speak continuously without stopping to think too much, even if they cannot pronounce every word perfectly in the beginning. The constant repetition strengthens their speech muscles and familiarizes them with real spoken English. Over time, their fear decreases because speaking becomes a normal part of their learning process. The more they practice, the more comfortable they feel using English in different situations, whether at school, work, or in daily life. This technique also improves pronunciation through active imitation of a natural speaker's sound. Learners pay attention to how the speaker moves through words, how their voice rises and falls, and how emotions are expressed in speech. These are important elements that make spoken English sound lively and clear. By copying these details, learners gain a deeper understanding of English intonation and rhythm. They start recognizing which words to emphasize to express meaning correctly. and this helps their communication become more effective. Good pronunciation is not only about saying words correctly, but also about sounding natural enough that others can understand easily. Shadowing further enhances confidence by creating a strong habit of speaking. When learners practice every day, even for a short time, they begin to hear noticeable improvements in themselves. They might find that they speak faster, hesitate less, and pronounce difficult words better than before. These visible results make them proud of their progress. With each practice session, they strengthen the belief that they can speak English well. Confidence grows when learners feel capable, and shadowing provides constant proof that improvement is happening through effort and persistence. Reading out loud every day plays a powerful role in building fluency because it allows learners to practice producing English sounds and sentences continuously. When someone reads silently, they focus mainly on understanding the meaning. But when they read aloud, they train their voice, tongue, and breath control in addition to comprehension. This makes the language feel more natural and comfortable to speak. Daily reading creates a routine where the learner becomes familiar with the structure, rhythm, and flow of English, helping them move from slow, hesitant speech to smoother and more confident communication. The more often they read aloud, the easier it becomes to express ideas clearly without long pauses or fear of mistakes. Regular reading also helps expand vocabulary and improves pronunciation without the learner even noticing at first. When reading aloud, they encounter new words and must practice saying them correctly. This builds strong word memory and makes the learner more comfortable using these new expressions. During conversations, each reading session strengthens the connection between the written form of a word and how it sounds, reducing confusion and boosting accuracy. Learners also begin to understand grammar patterns better because they see and speak correct sentence structures repeatedly, which makes forming sentences during real conversations much easier. Another important benefit of daily reading is that it trains the learner's ear and voice to work together. English has a unique rhythm and intonation that gives meaning and expression to speech. When reading aloud, learners naturally practice stress and timing, even if they are not thinking about it. With the help of audio recordings or shadowing, they can compare their own voice with a fluent speaker's voice, noticing the differences and improving through repeated practice. This builds muscle memory for sound production, helping learners speak more clearly and confidently. Reading aloud also reduces anxiety related to speaking. Many learners feel shy or embarrassed when talking with others, but reading provides a safe and private way to practice producing spoken English without pressure. As they hear themselves speak more often, they become used to their own English voice, and their confidence grows. Gradually, the fear of speaking fades because they have already built strong fluency through daily practice. Even just a few minutes every day helps transform speaking ability by improving clarity, speed, and expression, making communication in English feel more natural and enjoyable. Practice is important even when mistakes happen because making errors is a natural and necessary part of learning any language. When a learner begins speaking English, they may mispronounce words, forget vocabulary, or struggle with grammar. Instead of seeing these moments as failures, they should understand them as opportunities to grow. Every mistake shows what still needs improvement, and each attempt helps the brain learn the correct way. If learners avoid speaking to prevent errors, they lose valuable chances to practice, and progress becomes much slower. Continuous practice, even with imperfections, helps build strong communication skills over time. Mistakes also help learners develop resilience and confidence. Many people feel embarrassed when they speak incorrectly, but the more they practice, the more comfortable they become taking risks. Speaking a language requires courage, especially when communicating with others. As learners repeat words and sentences, they gradually reduce mistakes and become more fluent. This improvement boosts their confidence, showing them that effort leads to success. With every small achievement, they gain motivation to continue practicing, even when something feels difficult. Instead of stopping after a mistake, they learn to keep going, which is a valuable mindset not only for language learning but also for life. Furthermore, errors provide important feedback for teachers, tutors, or even the learners themselves. When mistakes appear, they highlight areas that need attention. For example, if a learner keeps using the wrong verb tense, they can focus more on grammar practice. If they stumble over certain sounds, they can spend time improving pronunciation without attempting to speak. These weaknesses remain hidden and can become long-term problems. Practicing regularly ensures that issues are discovered early and corrected through repetition and guidance. In this way, mistakes actually guide learners toward improvement. Consistency in practice builds strong habits that lead to natural fluency. Even if progress seems slow at first, every day of speaking and listening adds to the learner's skills. Over time, their speech becomes more automatic, and they no longer need to think too carefully before forming sentences. Regular practice transforms confusion into clarity and hesitation into confidence. The key is to keep moving forward, accepting mistakes as part of the process and celebrating progress along the way. Asterisk shadowing helps learners understand the natural rhythm of English by immersing them in real spoken language. English has a musical flow made up of stress, intonation, and connected speech. Some words are emphasized while others are spoken quickly or softly. When learners only study from books, they often speak each word separately and slowly, which makes their speech sound unnatural. By listening and repeating at the same time, they begin to feel how native speakers express sentences in a smooth and connected way. Their ears learn to recognize where voices rise or fall, where pauses happen, and how sounds blend together. This understanding of rhythm helps them communicate more clearly, because they are not just speaking words, but expressing meaning through tone and flow. Connected speech is a major part of English rhythm. In real conversations, native speakers do not pronounce every word fully. They link sounds together, shorten words like going to into Ghana, and drop certain sounds when speaking fast. Shadowing trains learners to adjust their pronunciation naturally, rather than trying to pronounce each letter exactly as it appears. This adjustment makes communication more efficient and more easily understood by listeners. It also reduces the misunderstanding that can happen when speech is too slow or broken. When learners follow a speaker's rhythm, their speech becomes more fluent and easier to follow. Intonation also plays a crucial role in how meaning is expressed. A sentence can change its feeling based on the speaker's tone. For example, a rising tone may indicate a question, excitement, or uncertainty, while a falling tone may show confidence or completion. Shadowing helps learners match these tonal patterns by hearing them in real time. They begin to use tone to show emotion, ask questions naturally, and emphasize important words. This makes interactions more engaging and helps learners sound more expressive instead of monotone. Exposure to rhythm through shadowing also improves listening skills. Learners start to understand native speakers more easily because they are familiar with the way sounds are linked and how speed changes throughout a sentence. Instead of being confused by fast speech, they can predict the pattern of the language and catch the meaning quicker. This builds stronger communication skills in both listening and speaking. Practicing with real audio materials daily reinforces these patterns, making the rhythm of English a natural part of the learner's own voice. Asterisk consistency leads to noticeable improvement in speaking skills because language learning grows stronger through continuous practice. When learners speak English every day, their brains stay actively connected with the language. They begin to remember vocabulary more easily and form sentences without thinking too much. Even short, daily practice sessions help keep the language fresh in their minds, preventing them from forgetting or struggling each time they return to studying. Consistency builds strong habits that support smooth and confident communication, allowing progress to happen step by step. Regular practice also boosts confidence because learners can clearly see their improvement over time. In the beginning, they may speak slowly, hesitate, or feel nervous. But after practicing daily, they start noticing changes in themselves. They speak faster, understand others better, and feel less afraid of making mistakes. This steady progress motivates them to keep going, creating a positive cycle where confidence fuels more practice, and more practice builds even better results. Without consistency, learners may feel stuck or lose belief in their ability to improve. But daily effort keeps the journey forward. Pronunciation and fluency develop much more effectively with regular speaking practice. The muscles involved in speech, like the tongue, lips, and jaw, need repeated training to produce English sounds correctly. Consistency strengthens these muscles, making pronunciation smoother and more accurate. As learners continue speaking daily, their fluency increases because sentences begin to flow naturally. Instead of pausing to think about every word, they speak more comfortably and express ideas with greater ease. This change does not happen instantly, but through repeated effort, speaking becomes a natural part of their everyday life. Consistency is also important during challenging moments. When progress seems slow, many learners experience plateaus where improvement becomes less noticeable. But continuing to practice through these times is what leads to real breakthroughs. Each small effort contributes to a larger transformation. By showing up every day, learners prove their dedication and strengthen their mindset. They develop patience, discipline, and a belief in their own potential. These qualities not only help them in language learning, but become valuable life skills as well. In the end, consistency is the key that opens the door to fluency. It turns learning into lasting knowledge and transforms nervous speakers into confident communicators who enjoy expressing themselves clearly. Keep practicing every day, stay motivated, and watch your English grow stronger, because your success is already on the way, and your confidence will shine brighter than ever. Asterisk, asterisk.